Hi, this is Todd Olthoff from toddolthoff.com coming back at you with another screencast. And this week we're going to take a look at the mobile accounts feature that's built into OS X Server. Now, for some users who have home folders on their server, they may have mobile devices like laptops that they want to take outside of the network. And mobile accounts or home folders, that are placed on the server are great when you're inside your network. But when you have to go outside your network, it really doesn't work because your home folders sitting on your server don't allow you to access them remotely as easily. And so as a result, it causes you to not be able to take your machine outside the network. And so that's where mobile accounts come in, or the mobility service that's built into OS X Server. Now, the mobility service allows you to basically make a copy of those home folders that you have on the server onto your actual physical device, allows you to leave the network then and do your work outside that network, and then when you come back into your network, it will sync all of the data between your mobile device and your server's home folder so that everything stays in sync. So it's basically a solution for those that have laptops that move outside the network, but yet you still want to have their home folders sitting on the server. So I want to show you how to set that up. Now, in order to set that up, a couple of things you have to do. We're going to do it through Profile Manager, but first you want to make sure by coming into your users, if you remember when we talked about home folders, let me go to one of my users here. What we did was we showed how to set up a home folder, and you set it up here where you determine where the home folder is located, whether it's located local only or whether this network account is only for services. Here we set up a home folder on the server, and so there's my home folder ready to go. And so users where their home folders are on the server will be able to use this mobile service. If not, you'll have to create that at some point in the process, but I just wanted to let you know where that's at. Now, you can also limit their disk usage as well to a certain size, just in case you have limited storage. But again, we covered that previously, but I just wanted to show you that you need to have this set up where you've got a spot for home folders to be created on the server itself to use the mobility service. So let me just cancel that. Let's go back into Profile Manager. So now, in order for us to get this started, we're going to want to go to the Profile Manager screen itself. Now, I've already got that set up. So let's go into here. So here we are actually on the Profile Manager screen. And what you want to do is go into the user that you want to have this set up for. You could also do it for the device if you wanted to as well, but in this case, we'll just do it with the user. And you want to go into the Settings tab here, and then you just want to edit the settings. And so we'll get this nice edit screen here. Now, in order to set this up, you'll want to scroll down to where it says OS X by itself. See how this is iOS. You see OS X here. And you can see we've got this mobility service set up here, and you can see that it's not configured. And so this is what we want to get set up and have this profile pushed out for this user to their machine. So we're going to go to Configure here. And so once we go into the configuration screen, you can see these are the various things that we can set up. We've got 3 tabs across the top. We've got one for the account creation. So how is the mobile account created? One for the account expiry. So when does the account expire if you wanted to set it up to be a temporary kind of a thing. And then we have rules of how that's going to be set up and run. So let's just kind of look at these each by themselves. So here's the account creation area. Now I can choose to create the mobile account when the user logs in to a network account. And this is set up in such a way that if you don't have those home folders set up yet and you want to create that, or you want to get that mobile account set up connected to the home folders that you've got on the server, this is where you would set that up. And so you just check that, and then that makes the setup of the mobile account happen. Now I can fine-tune that a little bit further by requiring confirmation before creating the mobile account. Where I want to, ask to make sure you want to do that. And then I can even add the little button on the screen that says, don't ask me again if I want to do this. Put that little checkbox on that window. So again, it gives you kind of some fine-tuned control all the way down to that level. Now, I can create the home using either the local home network template or the network home and default sync settings. And so I'm going to use the network home and default sync settings because I already set up my home folder, and I don't really, this user doesn't really have anything set up already. If you had somebody who had some things set up, you might do it by the local home template, but in this case, I've already just set up those home folders on the server, so I'm going to use this setting. Now, as an option, I can encrypt the contents with File Vault if I want to. So if I want to have that encrypted, I could set up encryption I could say use the computer master password if available, or require the master password, so you can do either one. I can restrict the size, again, of what that's going to look like to either a fixed size or to a percentage of the network home quota. And so I can even do it by percentage if I want to. I'm just going to undo this because I don't need to encrypt this. Now, where's the home folder located? You can have the home folder located on the startup volume, or you can have it located in another place, which is what we've done, or you can say the user chooses the volume or chooses an internal volume or an external volume. What I'm going to do is say add a particular path, and so what I'm going to put in is the actual path to where my whole home folder was set up. Now, if you remember in server, let me just go back to the server here real quick. In here, we set up home folders under file sharing, and I had it set up right here. If I just double click on this, this is the path here to my home folders. And so what I would do is use this path, and then with another slash, and then the user's short name is usually what they put in here at the end. And so that's the path that you're going to want to put in there into your profile manager. So I'm going to cancel this. For a second here. We're going to go back to Profile Manager, and I'm just going to go back in here, and I'm going to put in this path here real quick. Okay, now once I have that typed in, I'm ready to go with that setup, and so we're good to go. Now, what I want to do next is go over to the account expiry area here, and this basically allows you to set up a short-term mobile account. So if you've got someone that you want to have work on some stuff with a home folder on the server, but you want it to be short-term, you can set it up and say, hey, delete this mobile account in a certain amount of either hours, days, or weeks after the user's last login. Or you can say delete only after a successful sync. So maybe it's just a one-time out and back, and now you're going to delete it after the sync happens. You can do that as well. So you can actually set up short-term mobile accounts if you need to, maybe in a business situation or something like that where you need to kind of monitor that sort of thing. And then finally, we've got the rules over here. And so under rules, we've got a preference sync, a home sync, and options. The preference sync now is syncing for the various preferences that are set up on your Mac. And what we can do is set up how we want the sync to happen. And this will be true for the home sync as well, whether we want it to happen at login, at logout, in the background, or manually. And I can fine tune this to say I only wanted it log in, or I only wanted it log out, and I would undo all of these. Or I want it to happen in the background, or I want the availability for it to happen manually. What you're doing here is just giving more options to your user on when and how to sync. If you want to control the sync yourself, then you would just click, either at login or logout, and that's an automatic thing, and the user can't set any preference. If you want to give them a little bit more control, they can choose to do it manually if you want to, and you can just add that check there. I'm going to leave all of these checked just so you can see how they work. Here I've got the different folders to sync, and so it's going to sync my my library preferences that I've got here and some document preferences. I can add more if I want to. And then down here are items that it's going to skip. It's not going to include these things in its sync. And so again, I can have items matching this by full path, name is, ends with, that sort of thing if I wanted to add my own things that I wanted to skip in there. Now on the home sync, this is, again, what it's going to sync. It's going to sync my home folder. That's what the tilde means there. It's going to sync my basic home folder, and it's going to skip these particular items. It's going to skip the library because I'm already doing that in preference sync, and it's going to skip some of these other things. Again, that's in preference sync as well, and then it's going to skip these two files here. Like I said, I can add more files if I want to. And then I can check this box to say merge with the user's settings. If I've already got a user who's kind of set up their local account already and I want to have it become a mobile account, I can set that to merge those settings together. So I just want to show you how that works. And then finally, I've got options, right? I can sync in the background manually or every so many minutes. And again, this is really great. Show status in menu bar. And I'm going to check that so that it has a little home share item that will show up in the menu bar for us to use so that we could trigger syncs manually if we want to at any time, or be able to see when a sync is happening. So I'm going to check that. So now that I've got all of this set up the way I want to, and again, here on the home sync, I could do the same thing with whether I want to sync in the background or not and control that. But now that I've got that set up, I've got my payload configured, I'm going to say OK. And now you can see that it's loaded this payload. Now I've got a mobility account added here, and so it's going to add that to the profile for this particular individual. I'm going to say save, Sure you want to save changes? Yes, I'm going to save them. And so now it's set and ready to go. And so that particular profile change will be pushed to this user the next time they log into their machine. So now that we've got that set up and ready to go on the mobility account, everything's set up now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on a screen share what it looks like to actually log in for the first time and have this information sync across. Okay, here we are over on the screen share. And so I'm just going to put in my user here, put in the user that we set up, and go ahead and hit enter. And so it's going to log me in with this network account here for the first time. And so it's going ahead and setting that up. So I'm going to let it go ahead and do its thing, and I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like once we're logged in. Okay, so here we are on the desktop here for the first time. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and go into System Preferences. We're in here for the user that we just logged in on. We're going to go to Users and Groups here. And so here's the user that we've got. And what we're going to do is we've got to authenticate. Now, if your user does not have administrative privileges, you'll need to put those in yourself. So I'm just going to use an administrator's password. Okay, once I put that in, I'm going to unlock it, and that would be for the machine that you're using. And you notice here that I've got an icon here for mobile account right here with the create button. So we're just going to say create so we can create that mobile account. And now we get this nice drop down that asks me a number of different things. And you'll notice some of these things were things that we set up in Profile Manager. So first, where's the home folder located? And you can see it's going to be located on the actual startup disk that I've got. That's where it's going to make that copy. The sync is going to can happen either automatically. I can set intervals or say manually. And so remember, I gave the ability for this user to have that access to be able to make those changes. Like I said, if I set it the way that I wanted to with the profile, it would not allow him to do this. I've got it log in and log out. That's fine. And then his home folder is what's going to sync. Now, I could also say only these selected folders, so I could just choose the ones that I want to sync, but I'm going to leave that alone. And then I'm just going to check this status bar button up here. You notice it adds the little homes at the top, and then I'm going to say create. And so what it's going to do is it's going to create, it's going to log out and start this home folder sync. And so we're going to do that. We're going to say create. And so now what it's going to do is log me off, and then it's going to ask for my password for the account that I have, where I have the mobile account on. So I need to put that in here again. Okay, once I've put that in, I say OK. And then it's going to start the process now of creating that mobile account. And you can see it's syncing, it's checking now and looking for all that information. And it's going to start the home sync itself to get all of that data put in place so that way when I log back in, all of this information will be on from what I have on my server as well as what I have on my particular machine there. And you can see it's doing this syncing now of all these different items. And it kind of walks you through the different things that it's syncing as it's doing it. You can see now that we're doing the library and it's syncing all of those items. Shows you how complete it is in making that work. Finishing up here, and now the sync is complete. And then it takes me right back here to the login screen. So let me go ahead and log in again. Okay, once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'll probably lose contact while it's doing the sync. You can see now it's starting the sync because I had set it up to sync at login and log out. And so now that it's doing that, let me let it finish up here. Okay, so here we are back at the login screen. You can see I'm back at the desktop. It takes me back with system preferences being up. You can see I've got my home sync information up here now. You can see it tells me the last sync happened at 1:58 p.m. I can sync the home folders now, or I can go into the account preferences whenever I want just by clicking on this. It will take me in here. I just go to settings, and then I can come in and actually change some of these settings if I want to, or just click on sync now. Or again, I can do the sync now up here from the menu bar as well and start that home sync. And so that's the way you keep those accounts in sync between your server and your mobile devices like your laptops. And this is for OS X now, not for iOS. So that's all I have for this week. Hopefully that helps you get started using the mobility service and mobile accounts. And I'll be back at you next week with another screencast to help you learn how to do more things with your Mac. If you're interested in help in setting up your own server, feel free to contact me at todd@toddolthoff.com.